Attraction is often mistaken as something purely visual, as if the eyes hold all the power to decide desire. But that's not where it begins. Attraction begins long before the eyes even get involved. It begins in the energy a woman carries, in the invisible current that enters the room before she even speaks. You see, every person has an energetic presence. Some walk in quietly but command attention, while others shout loudly and go unnoticed. What sets them apart isn't what they wear, how their body looks, or the symmetry of their face. It's how they feel about themselves. Men are drawn to that vibration. When a woman is grounded in her own worth, when she moves with the quiet knowing that she doesn't need to prove herself to anyone, something happens in the space around her. She becomes magnetic. Think about it. Have you ever seen someone whose appearance wasn't traditionally striking, yet every head turned when she entered the room? That isn't luck. That's energy alignment. She doesn't chase attention. Attention naturally flows toward her because she's already full from within. Men feel this immediately, though they can't articulate it. They might say, "There's just something about her." That something is her self-possession. It's the way she walks without hurry, the way she listens with focus, the way she doesn't need to fill silence with noise. She emanates calm confidence. Men don't look first at a specific feature when that energy is present. They feel it like gravity. The eyes only follow what the heart has already sensed. A woman who owns her space doesn't shrink to be liked. She doesn't apologize for taking up room, and she doesn't dim her light to make others comfortable. She understands that her value isn't tied to validation. That understanding changes her posture, her tone, her expression. It's subtle but profound. The shoulders relax, the chin lifts, the breath slows, and suddenly she's carrying herself differently. She's communicating without words that she is safe within herself, and that safety is seductive. Every gesture becomes amplified when confidence lives behind it. The way she adjusts her hair or places her hand on the table no longer looks like a performance. It feels like authenticity. Men sense that difference instinctively. They can tell when someone is pretending versus when someone is being. A woman who feels whole inside doesn't chase connection. She allows it. And that allowance is what men find mesmerizing. Because while many people strive to impress, she simply expresses. She radiates instead of reaching. That's the secret behind why attraction begins before the eyes do. Men might think they're noticing a body part first, but what truly caught their attention was a frequency. The silent confidence that says, "I know who I am." Her presence alters the energy in the room. Her confidence doesn't shout, it hums quietly in the background, commanding attention through ease. And when a man feels that, his gaze follows naturally, not because she demanded it, but because her energy invited it. The eyes are the doorway through which we connect long before a single word is spoken. When a man first looks at a woman, his gaze is instinctively drawn to her eyes, not simply because they are beautiful, but because they carry emotion, depth, and truth that no other part of her body can reveal. Eyes have a language of their own, a silent dialogue that speaks of confidence, mystery, vulnerability, and warmth all at once. In a world where everyone is trying to appear composed, the eyes betray what is real. They tell stories of who we are and what we feel. A woman's eyes can hold strength and softness simultaneously, and that duality is what captivates a man's attention more than any physical feature ever could. When a woman looks at a man with genuine curiosity, there's a spark that ignites something ancient in him. It's not about seduction in the traditional sense, it's about recognition. Her eyes say, "I see you," and that moment of being seen touches a man's ego and his soul. It makes him feel alive. A glance that holds intention can feel more powerful than 1,000 words. Men don't consciously analyze this, they just feel it. A fleeting gaze can leave a deeper impression than an hour-long conversation because the eyes bypass logic and speak directly to emotion. There's also an element of mystery in the eyes that pulls a man closer. It's not about revealing everything. It's about allowing him to sense that there's more to discover. A woman who knows how to use her gaze understands the balance between openness and restraint. When her eyes hold a touch of playfulness, a glimmer of challenge, or a spark of mischief, it triggers curiosity in a man's mind. He begins to wonder, what is she thinking? What's behind that look? And that curiosity is what builds attraction. It creates tension, a dance between what is known and what is yet to be known. The most magnetic eyes are not necessarily the most beautiful ones. They are the ones alive with emotion. They reflect inner confidence and a comfort with one's own vulnerability. A woman who isn't afraid to look directly into a man's eyes sends a silent message. She's not hiding. She's not seeking approval. She's inviting presence. That authenticity is rare and deeply attractive. In a world filled with filtered perfection and practiced smiles, real eye contact feels almost revolutionary. It's grounding. It's intimate. It's the kind of connection that can make a crowded room disappear. Men are instinctively drawn to that kind of gaze because it feels like home, steady, real, and warm. The eyes carry the essence of a woman's energy. They show her confidence, her kindness, and her sensuality all at once. Even when a man claims he's attracted to a woman's body, what often pulls him in and keeps him engaged is the look that follows, the emotional depth he sees looking back at him. That look, subtle and fleeting as it may be, creates a silent thread of connection that lingers long after she's gone. A smile is one of the most powerful forms of silent communication, and it's often the moment when attraction begins to take on warmth and life. When a man first notices a woman's smile, it's not just the curve of her lips that captures his attention, but the emotion that lies behind it. A genuine smile has the ability to shift the entire energy between two people. It dissolves tension, disarms defenses, and creates an atmosphere of ease and connection. It's not about perfection, it's about sincerity. Men can sense the difference between a smile that is forced and one that flows naturally from a woman's inner state of joy or curiosity. The authenticity of a smile becomes an unspoken signal. It says, I'm open, I'm approachable, I'm present. When a woman smiles genuinely, she radiates something that no makeup or designer outfit can replicate: warmth. That warmth makes a man feel comfortable enough to engage, to speak, to move closer. It's a subtle yet profound invitation, and it works on a level deeper than logic. A man might not consciously think, her smile makes me feel safe, but he feels it. It's a gentle reassurance that she carries lightness within her, that she doesn't take the world or herself too seriously. In that instant, attraction stops being about surface-level beauty and becomes about emotional resonance. The fascinating thing about a smile is that it reflects what's happening inside a person. A woman who feels content, confident, and emotionally aligned exudes that through her smile without even realizing it. The way her eyes slightly narrow, the natural rhythm of her breath, the softness that appears in her expression, all of it combines to form a message of authenticity. That's what men notice. They aren't just drawn to the physical beauty of the lips or the teeth. They're drawn to the story that the smile tells. It reveals confidence without arrogance, playfulness without immaturity, and warmth without neediness. There's also a deeper psychological reason men are drawn to a smile. It represents acceptance. When a man sees a woman smile at him, it signals that she acknowledges his presence in a positive way. It reduces the fear of rejection that most people carry unconsciously. In that moment, she becomes emotionally accessible. A genuine smile creates the illusion of shared space, where both individuals feel seen and valued. It becomes a bridge that connects two worlds without words, but not all smiles are created equal. The most magnetic ones are the ones that come from genuine emotion. The spontaneous laugh, the subtle smirk of amusement, the playful grin that holds a hint of mystery. These are the moments that linger in a man's mind. Because a real smile isn't just visual, it's emotional. It triggers a mirror response, making the other person feel a burst of positivity. The body relaxes, the heart rate steadies, And suddenly, connection becomes effortless. That's the power of a smile. It doesn't demand attention. It invites it. It doesn't chase affection. It attracts it naturally. A woman who smiles from a place of truth becomes unforgettable, not because of how her face looks when she does, but because of how she makes others feel in that small, sincere moment of light. The way a woman moves tells a story long before she ever opens her mouth. Movement is a reflection of how comfortable she feels in her own skin, and that comfort is what captivates a man's attention more deeply than any single physical feature ever could. Men are naturally attuned to motion. It's instinctive. They notice the way she walks, the rhythm of her gestures, the subtle grace with which she interacts with the space around her. What draws them in isn't perfection or performance, but flow. That effortless harmony between body and energy that says, I belong here. When a woman moves with self-assuredness, it sends a message far louder than words ever could. She isn't seeking validation through her movements. She's simply existing in alignment with herself. There's a profound sensuality in a woman who doesn't rush. The way she reaches for a glass, the way she turns her head to listen, the calm pacing of her steps, all these small, seemingly ordinary gestures become magnetic when they come from a place of ease. A man observing her feels something shift inside him, something primal. He might not be able to describe it, but he senses confidence, balance, and grace. Her movement becomes a mirror for how she experiences herself. Is she grounded or anxious? Is she present or performing? Men pick up on these cues subconsciously, and they respond not to the body itself, but to the energy moving through it. The truth is, attraction often lives in the subtleties. A confident woman doesn't need exaggerated gestures or rehearsed poses to stand out. She carries a natural rhythm that's born from self-respect. She doesn't try to appear sexy, she simply is. Her movements have intention but never tension. When she walks into a room, she doesn't command attention through noise or effort. The air around her shifts because she moves with certainty. That quiet confidence is what makes her unforgettable. Men are drawn to it because it represents something rare. A woman who is comfortable being seen, yet doesn't depend on being seen to feel valuable. The body speaks even when the mouth stays silent. The tilt of her chin, the sway of her hips, the softness of her hands, they all reveal parts of her personality. If she's connected to herself, that connection becomes visible. It shows in how she inhabits her body, how she breathes, how she holds her shoulders. A woman disconnected from herself moves sharply or hurriedly, as though she's trying to reach a destination. But a woman at peace moves as if she has already arrived. That's what mesmerizes men. They see in her an embodiment of presence, a living expression of confidence that doesn't need to be declared. Movement, at its essence, is emotion in motion. It reveals what words often conceal. A woman who moves with grace communicates self-trust, and self-trust is the foundation of magnetism. Every step, every gesture, every glance has weight because it's backed by intention. Men don't consciously realize it, but they are responding to that vibration of authenticity. The way she moves becomes an unspoken invitation, not for pursuit, but for curiosity. It leaves a man wanting to know more, not because she's trying to impress him, but because she's already deeply connected to herself, and that connection is what turns ordinary motion into irresistible allure. Hands are one of the most underestimated yet powerful forms of nonverbal communication, and men notice them far more often than most women realize. They are extensions of emotion, tools of expression, and silent messengers of inner confidence. A woman's hands tell stories about her temperament, her calmness, her attentiveness, and her way of connecting with the world. The way she uses them while speaking, how they rest when she's listening, or how she touches her own hair or face. All these small, seemingly unconscious gestures reveal layers of her personality. Men are drawn to this subtle language because it carries authenticity. It's not about manicured nails or delicate fingers. It's about what the movement of her hands says about her presence. When a woman speaks with her hands, she breathes life into her words. Her gestures punctuate her emotions, making every sentence feel alive and genuine. Men often find themselves mesmerized by this liveliness, not because it's showy, but because it's honest. A woman who moves her hands naturally while expressing herself signals openness. She's not hiding behind pretense or stiffness. She's letting her energy flow freely. This kind of freedom translates to comfort in her own skin, and that comfort is inherently attractive. A man feels it before he even realizes what he's observing. It's as if her hands draw invisible shapes in the air, leaving trails of her energy for him to feel. There's also something deeply sensual about the way a woman's hands interact with her surroundings. The way she holds a cup, runs her fingers through her hair, or lightly touches a table surface. These are gestures charged with intention, grace, and softness. They reveal her awareness, her patience, and her relationship with touch itself. Men notice these moments not because they're overtly sexual, but because they represent sensitivity and care. A woman who moves with gentleness in her hands communicates emotional depth. She shows that she's in tune with her senses, and that sensual awareness draws people toward her like gravity. Hands are also symbols of nurturing and strength. They build, comfort, soothe, and hold. A woman's touch can ground or ignite, depending on her energy. Men are subconsciously attuned to this duality. They see in her hands both gentleness and capability, the ability to comfort as well as to create. Even when she's not physically touching him, the way she carries her hands tells him what kind of emotional space she occupies. Are her hands fidgeting anxiously or resting calmly? Are they tense or relaxed? Through them, he reads her energy, and that silent communication can be more powerful than any conversation. Beyond their physical beauty, hands represent connection. They bridge the distance between people. A simple touch on the arm, an accidental graze, or the deliberate handshake can spark something primal. It's in those brief, tactile moments that chemistry is born. The human mind remembers touch more vividly than words because it imprints feeling directly into the nervous system. When a woman uses her hands with awareness, when she's expressive yet controlled, soft yet deliberate, she creates a balance that feels magnetic. Her hands become a reflection of her essence, showing how she engages with the world, not with hesitation, but with quiet confidence. It's through this subtle art of motion and stillness that her presence becomes unforgettable, not just for what she says or how she looks, but for the silent language her hands speak so fluently. There's an invisible quality that transcends physical beauty, a presence that lingers even after a woman has left the room. It's not her face, her figure, or her clothes that men remember most. It's her aura, the quiet frequency of self-worth that radiates from within her. This unseen energy can't be manufactured or faked because it's born from how she feels about herself at the deepest level. A woman who has built her identity from a place of self-respect moves through the world differently. She doesn't chase attention, nor does she fear losing it. She understands that validation doesn't add to her worth, it merely reflects it. That calm assurance is magnetic to men, even if they can't put into words why they feel drawn to her. Her aura speaks louder than her appearance. It's in the way she listens, fully, without distraction, as though every moment deserves her presence. It's in the way she speaks, not to impress, but to express. It's in the silence she carries, the peace that follows her into every interaction. Men feel it the moment she walks into a room. Her energy feels grounded, balanced, and unbothered. She doesn't rush to fill space or prove her value. She allows others to meet her where she stands. That stillness becomes her strength. A man standing near her feels the pull of that energy, not because she's doing anything to attract him, but because she is aligned with herself. Alignment is irresistible. There's something deeply intoxicating about a woman who knows who she is and doesn't apologize for it. Her boundaries are clear, yet they don't feel cold. She doesn't confuse availability with affection or attention with connection. She carries herself with quiet dignity, the kind that doesn't need to announce itself. Men sense this difference immediately. They might not consciously recognize it, but they feel more at ease around her, more open, more intrigued. It's as if her energy gives them permission to be authentic too. She doesn't demand love, she inspires it. She doesn't chase validation, she commands respect simply by being rooted in her own value. This aura of self-worth is not about arrogance or superiority. It's soft power, the kind that comes from inner peace. It's the look in her eyes that says she's been through storms and found calm. It's the tone of her voice that carries both strength and kindness. It's the posture that reflects self-trust. A woman like this doesn't rely on appearance to define her desirability. Her energy does the work. She radiates a quiet confidence that tells the world she is enough. And men, often unaware of what's happening, find themselves captivated not by her looks, but by how they feel in her presence, grounded, alive, and understood. Every part of her energy communicates that she knows her worth, that she honors it, and that she won't compromise it for fleeting attention. That unwavering self-respect creates an energy field that is both alluring and safe, mysterious yet approachable. It's what makes her unforgettable long after her image fades from a man's mind, because what he remembers most isn't how she looked. It's how her presence made him feel seen, calm, and magnetically drawn toward her essence.